Hello, family. Welcome back to Larry's Anything Goes. Hopefully, you guys are having a great and exceptional day. It's Thursday. Like I said, I'm enjoying my vacation. About to get the day started, and get my workout on, and hit the town, Los Angeles. Got a lot going on, and go from there. All right. So if you watch, do great 3 things: like, share, and subscribe. If you're a stock market investor, crypto investor, individual retirement account investor, don't forget to check out Stash Weebles, AcornsCrypto.com. All those platforms, you'll be able to make some money moves. And you'll be able to get some free money, or you'll be able to get up to 14 free stocks with WEBULL. So check it out, go from there, all right? So and don't forget to check out my online store, support your local black businesses. All right, got a bunch of things on there, especially the gears. I always say hashtag make money moves. Well, hold it, bro, like a fool. So anyways, today's word of the day is realistic, stands for having or showing a sensible and practical idea of what can be achieved or unexpected. Now, I love this word because a lot of times in life we can't be realistic because a lot of times we have dreams and goals and aspirations that are far out of reach. Excuse me, but I say we have to be realistic in our current circumstance. But doesn't mean our current circumstance is going to be our final circumstance unless we're breathing our last breath, or we know that we only have a certain amount of days to live. Those are different circumstances. But if you're, for the most part, alive and well, and somewhat healthy, or somewhat a clean bill of health in a sense, you know that your current circumstance should not be your final circumstance. I mean, heck, I've even seen people with illnesses live great lives. Seen people, my mother went through chemotherapy, breast cancer, so it's like, and it was a life-changing experience on all levels, but she didn't let it keep her down. She actually allow it to elevate her spiritually, physically, health-wise. She takes her health even way more serious now than she ever did in her life. And that's what we have to do. It's like me. My doctor, I had to go to the doctor a couple of weeks ago because I was having a lower back issue. And, my doctor told me, like, hey, you're borderline diabetic, so you're going to have to cut out a lot of sugar and cut out a lot of the carbs. And one thing I was doing, I was still drinking sweeter beverages like a Snap-on. Try to be healthy, but the Snapples is nothing but sugar. So now I've just switched to unsweetened tea and regular water. And the only time I drink anything sugary is just really a coffee, or if I might have a drink every now and then, but that's about it. And then carbs, I'm, trying to give up rice, gave up mashed potatoes. I can give up bread, maybe have a piece of toast once a day. But, it's just certain things you have to be realistic about, because I want to be able to live a healthy life. And I don't want to, end up having to take insulin. I'm not cracking jokes that anybody does. I don't want to have a chance of me having to get a part of my body cut off and whatnot. So, you got to take your health seriously. It's just something to take into consideration. But I know my current circumstance is not going to be my final circumstance, because, the beautiful thing about the Facebook memories is that, you see where you were at in life when they come out, like, especially now that, social media has been around for a long time now. I believe over 20 years now, social media platforms have been around, from your AOL.coms, your Yahoos, that was another form of social media, to your Black Planets, to MySpace, and there was all these other platforms that was out in the early 2000s. So it's been, with it being almost 2023, it's been around for about 20 years, I'll say, at least, or 18 20 at the most, 18 at the least, from my recollection. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section. But anyways, the moral of the story is, it's like, I see where I was in 2012. I did not have a podcast. I did not own a business. I was still working in corporate America. Didn't have as much job security. And even this time, 10 years ago, I was a couple weeks away from losing my job right before the Christmas holidays in 2012. So I remember that journey, and it changed my mindset forever. I was like, okay, I need to, one, get better skill sets. Two, I need to get it, because when I was going on a lot of job interviews, I didn't have the right skill sets that the employers wanted. I had one aspect of what they needed, but they needed me to be able to justify my existence if I was going to work on that specific contract. So with that being said, that was a life-changing moment in 2012 for me. Luckily I had savings. I couldn't even get unemployment, back then. And that's why I don't feel sorry for people. I'm not saying if I can do it, anybody can, but that's why I don't feel sorry for people that are not trying. I'll feel sorry for you if you're trying, but if you're just complaining and not doing anything, and you find time to be on social media, because I wasn't on social media I was on social media, but I wasn't. When I lost my job, the day I lost my job is the day I had a job interview. I haven't never really said it online, I don't think. But yeah, the day I lost my job was the day I had a job interview, and I had 10 more interviews after that. And 2 months later, I finally got another job. I had to accept, and I accepted at lower pay because I couldn't even, like, my savings was going down, one, and then two, we didn't have Uber. Like, if I would have had Uber back then, that would have been a beautiful thing. DoorDash, that's why I said you can talk all you want about those kind of platforms, but those kind of platforms are very helpful for people that lose their job or get cut in pay. Or just it's great for people who actually make a good living on the job or even in the business, but they need extra cash flow. I remember a friend of mine, when he first came to LA with me in 2016, and Uber was still new around that time. And he was like, yeah, the guy owns his own business, but he was doing Uber on the side just to make some extra money until his business got off the ground. So that's why I said having those kind of backup plans of a source of income, no matter how you slice and dice it, is a necessity. But that's why I don't feel bad for people that, like a lot of people got, especially during the pandemic, they got they getting unemployment, and they was chilling, getting stimulus checks. I was still working during that time frame. But moral of the story is I remember looking back then, and I'm like, yeah, never again. And luckily 10 years later, I can say never happened again, never lost a job. And I lost that job just due to financial issues with the company as a whole, not because of anything I did. I've never been fired from a job, but yeah. Oops. So yeah, that's how I look at that. Of course, somebody would call me when I'm freaking going live. But yeah. So at the end of the day, moral of the story is it's never. I've had that never again. I've started 3 companies since then. Patterson Rental Properties, LarrysAnythingGoes LLC. I'm happy about that. I've found other ways to make income outside of my job. I've learned, I've always had a love for learning about economics and money. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not an economist. I'm just a person that studies and implements what I study and listens to podcasts and implements what I listen to, and I go from there. But I'm very happy to say that I'm a guy who was like, okay, continuously learn, continuously implement, continuously improve. And I can say I'm definitely not the guy I was 10 years ago, and I'm happy about that. So I had more of a carefree mindset just because I was making good money. Didn't think something like that could ever happen to me. And when it did, and that was when the U.S. economy was still struggling to get back to normal. It was a crazy thing. And then months later, after I got my new job, then there was an issue with the financing aspect of things with the operation. So I had to, go home, couldn't come back to work for a couple of weeks. But I had a contingency plan at that time, so I was happy about that. So that's what I said. It's just this constant learning, and I never want to ever be put in a situation like that again. And I implore you all to before you care about what some celebrity or politician has to say, make sure your money's right, make sure your money's tight, make sure you have multiple streams of income, make sure you're talking about money, not from a bragging standpoint, but from a how am I getting it and how am I saving it and how am I investing it, period. That's, collaboration over competition all day. Since I'm on the West Coast today, I'll be doing my word of the days with West Coast rap artists who made me intrigued with coming to Los Angeles, California. Ice Cube, he says, I think rap music has brought up gangster rap in particular, as well as video games, every other thing they try to hang the ills of society on as a scapegoat. And I couldn't agree. I mean, if you want to talk about things that can have an effect on people, music does, video games can, movies can, television shows can. But my mindset is violence isn't anything new. And violence and barbarism and cannibalism existed before you had the internet, before you had cable television or any sort of television or even radio. So before you even had newspapers. So a lot of times violence can be, it can make you want maybe more aggressive. Like I listen to aggressive music when I'm working out, but it doesn't make me want to kill anybody, hurt anybody. I've never hurt anybody intentionally or because I saw a movie or because of music that I've listened to. If that's your excuse, then that means you may have, I'm not a psychologist, but you might have some mental health issues. So I can't put it any other way. Music and movies never made me want to kill and hurt anybody. All right. Only time I've had to, even remotely get close to doing something like that is because I had the right to defend myself when somebody was trying to hurt me. Back in grade school. As an adult, thankfully I've never had to deal with situations like that because as one of my T-shirts says, I don't do drama, I do business, and that's just my mindset. I don't want to do drama. Let's do business. If there's going to be some drama, then let there be some money involved. It's like my mindset is if my life is not on the line and there's no money involved, then why am I losing sleep over it? That's really I can't put it any other way. If my life's not on the line, if money's not involved, and somebody I love, their life is not on the line, why am I losing sleep over it? There's no point. Let's overthink getting money. Let's overthink getting skill sets. Let's overthink opening up a business. Let's overthink investing money into tangible assets. Let's overthink gaining a sense of intelligence. Let's overthink being healthier. Let's overthink those things. Let's not overthink politics and sports and gossip, because that's just the easy way to fall into the trap of sometimes stupidity. And I'm just going to call it like that. So do the great 3 things. Like, share, and subscribe. Have a great day. Make money moves, or you're going to live like a fool. Take care, family.